Sansa and Jon scramble for support in their quest to retake Winterfell. Arya plans to return to Westeros, and the Hound isn't quite as dead as we thought. It's Game of Thrones, Season 6, Episode 7, The Broken Man. Alright, spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. So, not quite so much actions in this week's episode, really kind of more setup, more moving the story along. We've had a couple episodes where some big things have happened, so I think it's only proper that we slow things down a bit, get a little bit more setup, move some stuff inching forward. And that's really what this episode does. And let's start off with the broken man himself, the Hound. Not quite as dead as we thought, as it appears. And apparently, Mr. Ian McShane, playing a wonderful criminal-turned-preacher, found his body and has helped nurse him back to health. And the Hound is really going through his own kind of spiritual crisis. After losing to Brienne, a woman, that seems to have knocked him down a bit more than maybe we would have expected to. But really this scene is setting up kind of the classic gunslinger Clint Eastwood attempted reform that has to, re-enter the fray and become the man that he was. A nice little arc with the Hound as we see he's really trying to step away. He's helping this new congregation build their new church. And as much as he's really trying to move on, Ian McShane is really in a great appearance. I mean, I love seeing Ian McShane, a very powerful actor, and he just scoops right into this role well as, again, the sinner himself that has turned preacher, telling stories of how he had killed people, and now he is looking for forgiveness. And that's really a point that he hammers into the Hound, it's never too late to turn things around. It's never too late to become a good man. And it seems that the Hound might be moving in that direction until, of course, the Brothers Without Banners show up and basic their little protection racket. Hey, here's some people. Do you have some gold? Do you have some food? Do you have something to give us? The Hound sees the danger immediately, but he's really looking not to interfere and goes to, get rid of all of his frustrations by chopping wood, because you're going to need a lot of firewood for a group that size. And again, while great to see Ian McShane, unfortunately not a long-term role for him as the Hound returns to find the congregation dead and Ian McShane hanging. Great scene, man. They really do dead bodies very well in the show. Just that whole, you could see that he'd been hanging for a while. It was a great scene, a great image, but of course what this is doing is this reinvigorates the Hound to return to his old ways, grabbing that axe, and that's spelling doom for the Brothers Without Banners, whoever that little group is. They are not going to last long, and rightfully so. Meanwhile, back at King's Landing, we have Marjorie, who appears to still be a prisoner of the High Sparrow, but kind of a voluntary one. I think this is really a great tribute to the writing and the acting, is that we don't entirely know what's going on with Marjorie. From last week's episode, that kind of conversation with Tommen where there appeared to be that doublespeak and yet she seemed to be in the pocket of the High Sparrow, all of that really continues forward here. A lot of questions what's going on, which does reveal some answers. And let's start out with the High Sparrow, continuing his dickishness. But also a bit of a misogynist, apparently. We find out that, again, Marjorie, I guess, can leave when she wants to, because the comment is she hasn't returned to the king's bedchamber. And she doesn't have the desire for that right now. And of course, the High Sparrow's quick line back, desire's not needed from a woman, just patience. We need an heir. You, dude. God. And everything about that guy just continues to piss me off. But really, he has set his sights on his next target, and that is the Queen of Thorns herself, Olenna Tyrell. And again, just as I've been suspecting, his whole gag is just to take whoever's in high places and to tear them down. And now he's trying to use Marjorie to convert her over to the faith, or he fears for her safety. Yeah, he fears that he's just going to grab her and throw her in a dungeon. And so we do have that nice conversation with Lady Tyrell. And again, that little bit of doublespeak where we do find out she passes that note, the flower that she looks at. And that can mean a couple of things. One, of course, the flower is the sign of House Tyrell, so this could be just the symbol of, no, I am still with you. It also might refer to Loras. This might be why she is still in. Perhaps she fears that the assault on the keep might have ended up harming Loras. I think she might be playing the long game to try and ensure his safety. Regardless, that note at least does let Lady Tyrell know that Marjorie has not entirely turned, that she is still trying to be on her side, and of course with the warning, get out of King's Landing, which Olenna is more than happy to ready to go. And that leads to that beautiful scene where she just tears Cersei down wonderfully. Cersei is still trying to get together. Oh, we need each other. We've got to help your daughter. We've got to help your grandson. You know, we've got to do these things. And Lady Tyrell that was just a beautiful scene of just knocking Cersei down. Total burn. What? Your brother's gone. Your kids are dead. Everyone around you hates you. You have no allies. You are all alone. And the only joy in this entire miserable circumstances is seeing that you have lost. She hates Cersei and rightfully blames her for everything the High Sparrow is doing. Cersei was the one that pulled the High Sparrow in to try and better her position, and it totally backfired, and now she is at a loss. And the only person on her side is Zombie Mountain that's always right next to her. And I'm hoping next week we finally get to see him loosed. Gotta wait for that, though. And speaking of Cersei's brother, Jaime is on his way to Riverrun with 8,000 troops. That was an impressive camera shot, I have to say, of just seeing the troops all behind him in full armor, on horseback, just moving up and around and down the mountain back behind him. It was just a lovely, very impressive sight. And more important than the 8,000 troops, according to me at least, is that Bronn is next to him. I love seeing Bronn and Jaime. They really have the same type of conversational dynamic that we had with Bronn and Tyrion. Of course, Tyrion's up in Marine now, so we're not going to have the two of them together for a little while. But there's great back and forth between them. How Bronn, in a way, really doesn't want to be there, but of course he's being pulled into it. His lovely comment when Jaime tries to bring up the Lannisters always pay his debt. I don't want to hear that anymore. He's heard that so many times from Tyrion, and lately even dealing with Jaime. He's with them, but he's great at making it sort of a pain in the butt. And I love how they were able to sneak up with 8,000 troops right behind Frey's forces that are surrounding Riverrun. And just, okay, a backhand is bad enough. A backhand with Jaime's metal hand, that could have broken a jaw right there. I think the guy was more than just, I think he would have been on the ground. But a great little scene right there, and just, again, stepping up his military position, letting Bronn know, okay, you take care of tactics, I'm going to go and try and meet up with Blackfish, which doesn't go as well as Jaime wants it to go. And you know, that's unexpected. You know, I mean, the Tullys are kind of backed into a corner. Certainly not going to give up to a Lannister. Is more than willing to fight and die for their place. This is Westeros. This is what it's all about. So now we are setting ourselves up for a potential long siege. And as Blackfish says, he has provisions for 2 years. 2 years of being under siege. Does Jaime want to sit out there for 2 years waiting? I don't think so. Not to mention, of course, the dead are coming. And that leads us back over to Sansa and Jon, who are scrambling around the north trying to garner support. First, they've got to go in for the Wildlings. And, you know, again, nice little scene. And I love Tormund coming up, again, pointing out, hey, this man died for us. He was killed because he was helping us. And the Wildlings singing, yeah, this isn't our deal. This wasn't what we're here for. And I like that Jon points out, you know, you're right. This wasn't our deal. This isn't how it's supposed to be. but all these people hate you. And if we don't take back Winterfell, then everybody's going to come over and come after you. So yeah, it's not really your battle, but it sort of is. And I think if you can convince a giant, the rest of the wildlings are more than happy to follow along. A giant on your side is a big advantage. It's like a siege tower all by himself. Love the nice little return to House Mormont there on the lake. That was beautiful. The little 10-year-old girl just tearing Jon down. But he's got Sir Davos with him. And if you want to do anything, Sir Davos is definitely the guy. He is humble, he is a great speech maker, he's very calm, he is very direct, and he loves to follow up statements with "the dead are coming." And if you're going to put things in perspective, that really does. Forget your obligations, forget the bannermen, forget how long that we have done House Stark. It's the dead are coming. That's the bottom line. We have to do all this because it's all about to fall apart unless we get together. However, not quite so successful on all fronts. Certainly get some turn down there as well, despite as Sansa tried to point out the obligations that people have to House Stark. It didn't really carry over entirely well. So they do have their small batch, but again, it's mostly wildlings. They get a couple hundred from this house, a couple hundred from this house, 62 from House Mormont. And they know that they have to attack soon. They can't wait. The snows are going to ruin them. They certainly can't wait for any build-up to happen or reinforcements to come up to Winterfell as well. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And this is why I think, and I'm hoping, that Episode 9, which is usually the big battle sequence in the series always, is going to be retaking Winterfell. That is my suspect, and I really can't wait, especially if they got a freaking giant with them. That's going to be a beautiful thing. And quick note, brothels, not fun for eunuchs, especially one like Theon that used to enjoy them a whole lot. You can see, really not in a good place. Yara, of course, more than happy to kind of blow off some steam before getting on a boat. But I love just their little dynamic between basically how, with all of this, Yara just leans forward and just like, Theon, I need you, and I need you. I need Theon. Is he in there? If he's in there, bring him out. If not, it's best you just slit your wrists and get out of here because you're just wasting space and you're using up oxygen. Cruel, but effective. And even more effective is because Yara has a plan. She is heading to Marine. She's going to make a deal with Dany. She's going to bring their troops over and she's going to use that as leverage to regain the Iron Islands. That I want to see so badly. I mean, that really, the two of them was Yara and her ships being up with Dany. That is just a beautiful women power combination. And I want to see that happen. Now, while Yara does say this, it's not too long before she's apparently in Slaver's Bale, because when we pop back over to Braavos and we run into Arya, I love Arya's negotiating tactics, by the way, we overhear, before Arya starts throwing bags of money at the guy to get passage back to Westeros, we overhear him saying that the Iron Fleet is in Slaver's Bay. So that means that Yara has already taken the fleet and is already over, which means by next episode, we are probably going to see that meet. So that amount of time has passed, and Arya is now, of course, looking to book passage back to Westeros. And like I said, I love her negotiating tactic. Just, no, here's a bag of money. Okay, we leave in 2 days. Here's another bag of money. We leave tomorrow. Perfect. And of course, takes that second bag back, because that's how you do a negotiate. Here's half now, half when we get going, so you don't just take the money and leave. But, however happy that seems to have put Arya in the moment, it let her guard down, because, and I'm sure all of you were thinking the same thing. She's looking over the bridge, and we see the old lady behind us, and the first thing in my heart is, it's the waif, look out! But, no. That's it. Slice, slice, stabby, stabby, and a twist in the stomach? That's bad. I love her quick escape, jumping over the railing, but a stomach wound like that is not good. Those are not. For a moment, I was kind of thinking, does she have like a little blood better there? Maybe a little dead animal she's wrapped up, and that's what got stabbed. Was she faking her death, knowing that the waif was coming for her? That was my first thought. But with the paleness in her face and the blood dripping out of her stomach right after she pulled herself out of the water, didn't look like that was her plan. And she is in bad shape. One, the waif either thinks she's dead right now, and soon we'll find out because they got eyes and ears everywhere throughout Braavos. But she's got to find some way to heal her up, to get herself fixed, because again, that is not a wound that is easily recovered from, and that usually is just a very long, painful death. That's not the fate for Arya, and I hope that she is heading off and has a plan to save herself, because she's my favorite character, and she's going back to Westeros. She's gotta make it! Meet up with Dany and all of them together, and Yara and Dany and Arya just go take over Winterfell and just beat the crap out of everybody. Okay, those are my expectations. That's what I want to see. Anyway, so that is it. That's it. Like I said, a lot of setup, not big action happening, but we are building to that. 3 episodes left. 8, 9, and 10. 9's usually the big battle. I think that's going to take for Westeros. So next week, probably going to have Yara and Theon meeting up with Dany or Tyrion. Dany's still got to get back over to Meereen, and we still have those little adventures going on. Plus the setup for Winterfell, and now that we've got Jaime up at Riverrun, and that's where Brienne is heading down to speak to the Blackfish and try and get his support. Now we're going to have that potential conflict between Brienne and Jaime. And again, I like the two of them together too, so I don't want to see that. It's just, it's tough. Westeros is a complicated area of politics. What are you going to do? Anyway, hope you enjoyed this review of this week's episode. If you did, hit that like button. Want to come back? Want to see the rest of our conversations? There's a subscribe button right there in red. Go ahead and click that. Comments in the section below. What did you think? What are you looking forward to for the rest of the season? What is it that you want to try and see? We can keep a little conversation going on. Anyway, you can catch me on Twitter if you want. I'm at Darren Jakes. Other than that, I am D, and I am out of here. I will see you guys next week. You have a good one. Bye-bye.